Welcome to Heart and Minds Sales Training. This is our first sales training of 2026. This is your first free sales training. And I just want to reiterate again that we don't charge for our sales training. And this is meant for anyone, any kind of sales that you may be in at the moment. And it works across the board. These sales training ideas and techniques are things that I have learned over a very long career of doing sales training. I started when I was in college in the early 90s. Actually, I said on another video that I may have actually started doing sales even earlier than that, and but officially jumped into sales right around 1990, and just have learned so many lessons over my different careers, different products I've sold, and the different things I've done. So I want to talk to you about where to start. And we're going to start with that, and then we're going to talk about some bullet points that I have wrote down for you here in my little notebook that I want to make sure that we cover. But where to start? So many people, when it comes to growing their sales business, they get so wound up about making sure they've got, all the right stuff. They've got a CRM. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a way of tracking your customers and being in communication with them. It's basically your database of people that you're going to be calling on. And so they feel like they got to have a CRM. Some people believe they've got to have a lead generation thing set up. And all these things cost you a lot of money. And I'm here to tell you that you can get started in sales with little to no money, because sales at its core is still one person convincing someone else that they have something that's going to fill this person's need. That's what sales is, okay? It's all about providing a product or service that you're going to show to your client, and you're going to show them how that product or service is going to help meet their needs. And so it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. And so many people say, well, I'm not good talking to people. Well, sales may not be your thing. And that's one of the first things we have to acknowledge here. Maybe sales is not your thing. But if it is and you want to try, listen. Until you actually get started in something, you just don't know where it's going to go. And I'll tell you, over the many years, the many different types of things I've tried to sell, I've had to tweak things along the way. I've had to tweak myself and how I present myself along the way. And I've come to some truths that I want to share with you today that I think have made one of the biggest differences for me and my approach to selling. So the number one thing I have on my list here is be yourself. Okay, I believe each one of us is given gifts and talents from God. We don't have to pretend to be somebody we're not. We don't have to be slick. I know in some cases, if you're selling, I remember back in the day I sold insurance, I had to memorize a script, and I had to put that script onto the company's videotape so I could prove that I knew what to say. And that wasn't as much to help me in sales as it was to protect the company against liability, because they could say, well, he knew what the correct answer was. We've got him on tape saying the right thing. Look, if you go about this being mechanical and using scripts, I'm not going to say scripts can't help you, because they certainly can, but you have to be yourself. You have to take that script, that idea, that sales technique, and you need to make it your own. And you need to trust yourself. You need to believe in yourself. When you get into sales, I don't know how many of you heard this kind of thing if you've been in sales for a while, but I heard it from my dad. He's like, you need to just get on at the local manufacturing facility and settle for your hourly income. And, that worked for generations of people, and it still works today for a lot of people that are in the trades or work for manufacturers. But for those of us that want the freedom that comes through a career in sales, especially the financial freedom that you can gain in sales, then that's not the answer. And it wasn't the answer for me. Now, I won't say that I haven't struggled, okay? I'm not coming to you as some millionaire, billionaire salesperson. I'm coming to you to help you grow your business through my experiences, through things I have found that have worked or not worked. So number one, again, be yourself. Don't pretend to be something you're not. People can sniff out a fake so quick. And that's number one. Be yourself. Be true to who you are. Care about your clients is step two. Okay? If your clients don't think you care about them when you go to talk to them about XYZ product, they're going to shut you off pretty quickly. How many of us go to a store, a big box store, and we're looking at, let's say, electronics or something, and somebody walks up to us in that department and says, "Can I help you?" What do you say? What's your response? No thanks. I'm just looking. That's what most people generally say. It's no thanks. I'm just looking. And that's the kind of response you're going to get from people when you call on them and you don't really care about them. You're just doing what your company told you to do. You're not showing any level of care whatsoever. Now, if that person at that store had come up to you and said, "Hey, I'm here if you need any help. I know you're probably just looking, but we have some good deals on, if they see that you're looking at computer monitors, maybe they say, hey, you might want to check out this monitor because we've gotten some really good reviews and feedback on it. And this seems to be one of the top sellers." And then just kind of linger or walk away just a little bit, give them some space. And what you'll find a lot of times is that that person will see you as someone that's knowledgeable, somebody that cares about what they're doing, cares about them, or trying to point them in the right direction, and they may come back to you and ask more questions, which might end up leading to a sale. So you got to care about your clients. You can't have this mentality, "Oh, I'm in real estate, so all I got to do is go show houses." No, that's not. Showing houses is not your job, okay? It's part of the job, but it's not the job. The job is to find out how you can care for that client and take care of their needs. So that would be number two. Number three, stay in contact and be available for your clients, okay? So stay in contact. What does that mean? Does that mean once a year, once a month, once a week? How often should I be contacting my clients? Well, if you have a contact list, and believe me, you don't need a CRM to do this. You can just write it on a piece of paper, or you can put it in an Excel spreadsheet, however you're going to handle it. Remember, you're just getting started in this sales journey, so you don't need to be spending a fortune on different pieces of technology right now. You need to be spending time, which is your most precious resource, in figuring out how are you going to be in constant contact with your client. You have to answer that question for yourself, because each type of sales has its own different flow, right? So for some things, clients are going to make a decision on it within just days. They say most people that go looking for a car will visit 3 car dealerships before buying a car. So if you don't know where you are in that cycle. You could be the very first salesperson they talk to, or you could be number 3. And you need to be available to that person when they come in. You need to be attentive to their needs. You need to let them know that you're there to care for them, and you need to be yourself. So all those things tie in together. And I put in capital letters down here on my page, no part-timers, okay? So what do I consider part-time? Well, 40 hours a week, if that's all you put into your sales career, I think of that as part-time. And I'll tell you why. Because if you've got a 9-to-5 mentality and you're in any kind of sales like real estate, or maybe you're doing mortgages, or maybe you're selling insurance, and your clients have a need and you're only available during that set period of time, they're going to get tired of that pretty quick, because everybody knows today, everybody wants everything right now. So how do you stay available to them? Well, you make sure that if they call you and it's after those hours, you're available. You make sure if they want to go see a house on a Saturday when you'd rather be out fishing, that you take them out on that Saturday. Remember, you're getting started in your sales career. You're not toward the end of it where, the money's just flowing, and it doesn't really ever do that. But you're at the beginning of your sales career. You need to be making that impression on your client that you are there for them. Now, I know there are realtors, there are mortgage loan officers, there are insurance salespeople who will not be available past that 40 hours. If you work a part-time schedule, you're going to get part-time results. Let me say it again. If you work a part-time schedule, you're going to get part-time results. Will those part-time results meet your financial goals and your needs? That's something you're going to have to answer for yourself. For me, the way I get and retain clients is I pick up the phone when they call. I answer their text right away. I do lending, so I talk to their realtor when the realtor calls. I've had realtors that happened this morning, called me before I was even out of bed. That's fine with me. I cleared my voice, made sure I didn't sound like I was sleepy, picked up that phone, was upbeat and positive, and I talked to that realtor, answered their questions, and made them feel comfortable about the situation. So they know their client is in good hands. So no part-time work. Stay in contact and be available. Number 4, and this is the last thing for today, and it kind of wraps all the way back around to number 2 actually. Put your client's needs ahead of your own. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's say you work at that car dealership. The dealership may be offering an incentive for you to sell minivans. But maybe your client works construction. He just needs a truck. Are you going to waste his time showing him minivans and trying to convince him to buy that rather than buy the truck? I sure hope not, because that's not going to go over very well. In the same respect, you've got the mom with a handful of kids, and she's got a tight schedule she's got to keep, and she has to bus her kids around in this minivan. Are you going to take her over and show her sports cars? How much sense does that make? So put your client's needs over your own. If you're working for an insurance company and they're pushing you to sell life insurance along with your homeowner's policies, but your clients are already strapped for cash, is it really in their best interest at that moment to try to sign them up for everything that you have? Or is it better to get something rather than nothing and show them the benefits of having their home and their cars insured through you? And then later, as you develop that relationship with them, then you could talk to them about things like, life insurance and things like that. So put your client's needs ahead of your own. You may have listings if you're a realtor and you'd rather sell your own listings. Hey, I get it. You're going to get both ends of that deal, right? Because you're going to be the listing and the selling agent. But is that really in your client's best interest? Let's say your listing is a 2-story house and you are showing this to someone that's getting ready to go in retirement. You can see by observing your client that they have a hard time with stairs. Are you better off trying to convince them to buy that house with stairs, or to find them a ranch that's going to work for them better, a single level house with very few, if any, steps at all? So let's reiterate this. Be yourself. Don't pretend to be anybody else. Care about your clients. Number 3, stay in contact with your clients. Be available. Don't be a part-time sales rep or you're going to get part-time results. Put your clients' needs ahead of your own. This is it for lesson 1 for 2026. Coming soon, we'll be covering more topics. I hope you will stay tuned. Tell your friends that are in sales about this channel. Again, I offer this absolutely free. We're going to be doing some live sales training this year. We'll have one coming up pretty soon in January. If you're interested in coming to something like that, reach out to me. I'll be glad to tell you more about it and where it's going to be. If you've got a particular area you'd like me to come and speak in, or a group of people you'd like me to talk to, I'll be more than happy to do that. Let's get together and let's talk logistics on that. God bless you and have a great day.